So it's nice to have Fruits Basket back at its normal time slot. No longer do I have to stay up late and get these reviews out and basically get no sleep for my job on the weekend. So it's nice to have it back to normal. But the first thing we definitely have to jump into this week's episode of Fruits Basket is this innocent traveler tale. Because Momiji is once again returns for the episode, and in his class they read a little book of all these funny stories. And this innocent traveler tale is so important because it basically represents Tohru and the Zodiac so damn flawlessly, and that's what's so tragically beautiful about it. This tale of how you would have this girl who would just go from place to place, and every person that she interacted with would scam her and abuse her, and every time she would smile and be happy with life, feeling as if she was doing good. And as everyone in Momoji's class laughed at this tale because how could this stupid girl do this, everyone, including Yuki, Kyo, Momiji, they all recognized that story really represents who Tohru is as a character. Someone who's positive, who wants to help people, and even when bad things happens around her, she still smiles and heads on with a positive attitude, whether that be for a good or bad reason. And I think that's so important because it talks about how there would be these demons who would basically like feed on her, take an arm, take an eye, and she would still be thankful. And that really represents the Sohmas, because even though I believe Yuki and Kyo, they really do trust in and care for Tohru, we've seen that Akito, Shigure, like there's people who are perfectly fine with using her, and I think that perfectly represents what the Sohma family is doing, and how even if someone like Yuki or Kyo think they're doing fine by her, they easily could manipulate her because she is so innocent that it's easy to drag her along with your plans and not recognize what's good or bad for her. And I think that's just so important. The way they detailed it visually, it was so different from the typical art style we're typically used to seeing with Fruits Basket, and it's just my style of art. It was so colorful and vibrant, it immediately gripped you and immediately made the story interesting. And then as you see just the story being told, you recognize how tragically beautiful it is because it represents our main character and what's been happening to her over the past 11 episodes, and that was so damn beautiful. I really enjoyed this story, and the fact that it was both a positive and a negative with how it explained Tohru as being someone who's so pure and perfect, but also how that can easily lead her to be basically consumed by demons. Here's looking at you, Akito, here's looking at you, Shigure. Like, people are going to have an easy time manipulating her, and that could be for a good or bad reason. You could say right now, well, Yuki and Kyo, they're not going to do anything wrong, but they, once again, they didn't even recognize in this week's episode that she used her money that was supposed to go to a school trip fund for chocolates for Valentine's Day for them. Like, she easily could do things that is going to hurt her, and even though it's little right now, you know, she didn't have the money for the school trip, she'll work for it, and that'll be fine. But she really would give up an arm and a leg if someone told her to. Like, it really feels that way, and you could see how that could really bring her down. That's why it's so hilarious when people try to say Tohru is a perfect character when she is so incredibly flawed alongside everyone in this cast, and I thought that tale was just so goddamn perfect. This episode I thought would just be a very fun and just charming episode, which it was. There was a lot of cute moments, a lot of funny moments, but just seeing just what was being told in this episode, it really gripped me and really stood out as one of the better episodes of the season of Fruits Basket. I love just the absolute ridiculousness of this inn owner who I just love, because there's just some dialogue in this episode where you just see these overreactions that just cracked me up. Her saying things like how she would blame Kyo as being someone who, you know, I always tried to defend you even though you were the cat, and you're trying to do this not so pure intentions around this girl you brought to my inn. That shit just had me cracking up. She literally looked like a yandere ready to kill people, and every time she popped up, she would go from sweet and innocent, looking a little frail and ill, to holy shit, she is a monster who you're going to be running from down a dark corridor in the middle of a horror flick, and that shit just was absolutely incredible. But then when you get into the like really, really sweet moments where you have Tohru, who's lost her mother, it's been a year, and she goes to the bathing spot, and she puts her mother's picture in a plastic bag so she can basically come with her. Like, that shit was just so touching. It really just highlights just how innocent she really is and how you really do need to protect her, but also she needs to grow and be able to overcome negative emotions in her own way. But if you really do gain her trust, she will cherish you forever, and that's just really, really sweet. This episode, I just felt like not only did it represent what's been going on with the Sohma clan in kind of a form of both demons and also helping hands that can easily manipulate her or guide her down the correct path. It also was just super charming seeing where the characters were at. Like, there's moments in the beginning where basically they're getting their tests and things like that, and how, looks can be deceiving. People think the slacker Kyo in the back of the room, he's not going to be smart. He's an airhead. He likes, he's the jock of the class, but clearly he's actually pretty smart. He's studied in his own time, and he kind of gets a little mad when people think that he is an idiot. I like those little moments because it's very easy to just assume things based on a look. You could look at Tohru at first glance and say, she's an airhead, she doesn't know what she's doing, but she has a lot of complex emotions and feelings that sometimes are hard for her to express. Kyo is someone who really does struggle at expressing emotions, and that's why he lashes out in usually a violent or just outburst manner. And I love how you just got these little moments that really kind of sell you as being like, there's more to meets the eye. You have one of her friends, has this like weird wave ability that she can kind of predict things, but she admits that, she's kind of an idiot in her own way, and just because she can kind of read the feelings of people doesn't mean that she immediately will know answers to tests and things like that. It's just these little moments that both come across as humorous, but they also come across as like really trying to teach you that these characters are multi-layered. Just because you think you know something about them, it doesn't mean they can't be more complex, especially the more you get to know them alongside Tohru, who will learn and grow with all of these characters. I thought just seeing how everything was kind of functioning in this episode, starting off with the classroom scene, seeing like, okay, something's going wrong, maybe she just didn't try hard enough on a test or something like that, to then the transition to, oh shit, she didn't have the money because she got them Valentine's Day ingredients so she could make them chocolates, to the whole, okay, we're gonna have a hot springs episode, that'll be fun, we'll see where Fruits Basket is going with that, to then the innocent traveler tale, to then just the comedy and just the more dramatic stuff. I just absolutely love that. You get a moment with Yuki, who just finds it absolutely hilarious how bad Tohru is at ping pong, which it was. She gave it her all and she just swung, and then the ball just goes right past her. That was funny. But the fact that he said he's never laughed in front of Kyo, he's never laughed in front of his parents, it just highlights how broken he is. The fact that he couldn't show fun emotions, he had to be like this star child, straight and narrow to the point, and couldn't feel comfortable enough to express genuine happy emotions, that says it all with this family. It just keeps layering in and layering in and layering in just how bad this family currently is and what obviously this curse is to them. It clearly brings them down. You can understand why someone like Kyo would go into the wilderness and just break away from this family and the curse, because it's actually really tragically just horrible and also a little beautiful in its own way, because of all the curse and all the negativity that's brought these characters down. Now that Tohru's in their life, you're starting to see how they can be mended and kind of repaired and be brought back up, while we also watch her, who is very broken and very just emotionally destroyed, also receive the same repair that these other characters can give them, while we also have to be cautious about who she trusts in, because we know some of these characters can't be trusted, and even the ones that we do believe in, they easily could lead Tohru down a bad path without even meaning to. And that's the beauty of this series, is how if you kind of strip down the layers, I've said it before, like, this doesn't feel like a harem, it doesn't feel like, even a romance, it feels like a drama, it feels like a character series, and all these moments where you'll see things like Yuki kind of acting like the prince and kind of playing the part, because when they first got to the inn, she was saying how it kind of felt like a castle and she felt like a princess, so he was playing in the part, being like, you're my princess, and that was a, like, romantic directed scene, but it didn't come across as like, here is a potential romantic route. To me, it felt like, here is a character giving her exactly what she wants because she wanted to feel like a princess, as seen by her dialogue when she first got there. I just love how this series actually feels like a character drama first, rather than just here's a bunch of pretty boys and which one do you want to ship her with, which I really, really appreciate. This episode, it was so interesting to me because it felt so comfy, it felt so fun and hilarious. Momiji was a really solid addition to this episode. I wasn't a huge fan of Momiji when we first got introduced to him, but I thought he balanced in this episode a lot better, just based on the dialogue, and just I love the idea that Tohru was just oblivious to how old he actually was. If she knew, I doubt she would have let him sleep with her in that episode, but it was just fun seeing this all play out. But then when I kind of strip it down, even though all these layers were actually pretty dark in their own way, from the Yuki comment to Kyo to just the innocent traveler, it was actually pretty dark in its own way, but it didn't come across as depressing, even though when you really strip down and kind of break down what was actually happening, it's like, holy shit, that's actually pretty sad seeing how all this was playing out. And I love how they blended just how actual comfy and fun this episode was, while reminding you at enough points that this is very sad and these characters have a long way to go before they can properly be repaired and healed, and I love that. This episode in this series, because it has so many episodes and seasons to run for, I can just see how well we're going to get to know all these characters, and even if you get introduced to a character who may not impress you with their initial episode, episodes similar to me and Momiji, you know given enough time you're going to enjoy their presence to this series, and that's what's truly remarkable about Fruits Basket. This episode was honestly one of my favorites because of just how they blended all the elements of Fruits Basket into one near perfect package. I just love the shift in art style, especially with the Innocent Traveler. I thought that shit was gorgeous and wallpaper worthy, and just seeing the ridiculous reactions from Momiji to the rest and just the more serious and dramatic. It was sweet, it was innocent, it was dramatic, it was sad and heartwarming. It literally had every emotion at some point in time throughout this 20-minute run, and that was truly remarkable. This episode was absolutely incredible. I adored it. It was really, really phenomenal, close to perfect in my honest opinion. But for everyone who did watch, what did you think of this week's episode of Fruits Basket? For fans of the original anime, fans of the original manga, or anime originals like myself, let me know your thoughts down in that comment section below. If you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like and also hit that subscribe button if you have any new. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.